Okay, so Johnny, tell me more about yourself and what drew you to magic and illusions.
Well, my name's Jonathan Hawley.
Okay.
I'm originally from the UK, a place called Nottingham, which is, if you've ever heard of Robin Hood, that's exactly where I'm from.
There's a real tree.
Yeah, there's a tree, where apparently Robin Hood lived in the tree and all that, so I'm from that part of the UK. And there used to be a magician on TV for about 18 years when I was growing up as a kid, and his name was Paul Daniels, and he had a magic kit in Woolworths, and every time I went in Woolworths I wanted the magic kit, and then one year for Christmas I got the magic kit and fell in love with magic and kind of went from there. Typical magician story, really.
When was your first performance?
Ooh. Well, I've kind of been performing my whole life. I used to be, it's hard to believe, but I used to be a professional dancer as well. I don't have the body for that now, but I used to. Performing on cruise ships and used to travel around the world doing like competitions and stuff like that. And the same for Tricia, that's how she kind of got into the cruise ships and how we met and developed our magic show. But, so I've been on stage from a young age, but my first magic performance, which one? Well, my first one were at school, for my, which were a disaster, but...
Disaster?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was probably about 11 years old.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, my mum used to make me do stuff like that. And but our first professional gig was...
Well, in the pub in England, and then the next one was the...
Yeah, so we wanted to put together our own magic show, and like with big illusions and stuff, and we did that, but we had no place to practice. So I had a friend that used to own a pub, and he had this big room that they never used. So I asked him if we could use that room, and he said you can use it on one condition, that you do a show for us afterwards when you're ready. So that's kind of what we did. My first performance was in a pub. Everybody was drunk, and people was fighting, and it was just a real crazy experience.
They enjoyed the magic though.
Yeah, they loved the magic,
Loved
but it
the
was...
magic. But yeah, the fight actually did break
That was
out
my
in the middle
first
of the
gig.
show.
Oh.
And if you know anything about small villages in England, that's very typical response.
I was
to
doing a
things.
routine with the, like, you know, the traditional linking rings that magicians do. I was doing that. I do it a bit different. I make them fly. So I was doing the rings, and the music's all nice, and it's all pretty music, and I'm there doing the rings and doing all this stuff. And then while I'm doing it, I'm hearing fighting and screaming, and somebody gets thrown out of a door, and yeah.
And we thought if we could survive that, we can survive any show.
Yeah.
And we have.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What were your first tricks like when you were starting out?
Actually, one of my first things. So we used to watch Paul Daniels on the TV, but also there was Penn and Teller that came on the TV, and they used to do a lot of stuff where they'd show you like little tricks and things you could do. And they did a show in England on the TV, and they got the news reporter. So in England, every night at 10 o'clock, you have like a news reporter, and everybody knows who it is, and he does the news at 10. So they got that news reporter to be reading the news, and then all of a sudden, during his news forecast, he'd say, "This just in," and he'd reach down and say, "Is this your card?" And then he'd put it down and carry on with the news, and what you were supposed to do was to record that recording with VHS cassette then. So you'd record the recording, so the idea was, when your friends and family come over, you'd do a trick with cards or whatever, and you'd act like you got it wrong, and then put the TV on, but you press play on the VCR, and then the news guy would come on, and then he'd say, "Is this your card?" And it just blew people's minds. Yeah, that was kind of like the first thing I did.
Wow, that's amazing. And so those were magicians that you looked up to? Yes.
Obviously David Copperfield.
Oh, okay.
I think he's accomplished about everything you can with magic. I think he's a billionaire now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that quite close, but nowhere near that yet, but might do one day.
And that you wanted to be like him when you were beginning your career?
Yeah, well, Paul Daniels. I like Paul Daniels a lot, but I like the style of David Copperfield. Paul Daniels are more like wear a bow tie and a tuxedo kind of style, and a bit funny. But Copperfield were more like the stage magician with all the fire and the girls and all kinds of crazy stuff, you know. And that's what I enjoyed like the most growing up.
I see. I know you perform on cruise ships in America's Got Talent and in the UK, but can you tell me a little about these venues and what's it like performing each?
Oh, that was an experience. What did it
Oh
do?
yeah, and the cruise ships before. Well, no, yeah, we did America's Got Talent before we did the cruise ships. America's Got Talent was. We still think it was a dream that didn't really happen because the whole experience from beginning to end was just absolutely amazing. And you go on such highs and lows during the whole thing. And when I say we didn't quite get 15 minutes of fame, we got 5 minutes of fame, and we'll take it. That's good. But we had people asking for our autographs, trying to get their picture with us, and it was just insane. And then before that, we were kind of struggling to get picked up. So when America's Got Talent, they came to Charlotte, and we said, why not? We might as well try because we can't go any lower than this now. So we went and we got through, and then we got through and went all the way to the live shows, and it was absolutely amazing. And then they showed us on one of the first commercials for that show, and we were just
We didn't even know. We were just sat there eating whatever, and
it came on, and we were like, rewind, play, rewind. We started recording it. It was so cool. And then from that one commercial, the show hadn't even aired. One of the cruise lines contacted us and wanted us on board. But we were still stuck with the show for a little bit. So as soon as we were done, they snatched us up, and that was Princess Cruises. And we were with them until the coronavirus hit, basically. So we were with them for 7-8 years.
Yeah.
But so it was amazing because it really did open that door for us.
The whole experience of it was just surreal as well. Especially on like, you get through and then you get through and then you go to like a boot camp in Vegas, which were awesome because you're in a suite in Vegas and they put you up in a suite and all that stuff. They feed you and everything. But to be on, what was it, the Venetian?
The Venetian.
We did our performance on the Venetian stage in Las Vegas, which was like, just crazy.
I don't think I even remember that part.
I know, it's all a blur afterwards. You're like, did I just do that?
Know it was a really big stage. The judges were there. We were like, oh my God, oh my God.
The scariest thing was the live show. So we got through that, and then you go to the live show where it's live on TV, and that was in the MPAC, is it called?
Yeah, New Jersey Performing Arts Center.
And it's massive. It's one of these theaters with like 3 levels or 4 levels, and it's just huge. And you're all sat in the green room together, all the acts, and we're watching it on the TV as well. And then they call you to the stage or side stage. So we're watching, and then commercial break comes on. It's like Hawley Magic to the stage, and that's when your knees start to go and shake. And you go out there, but what you don't realise is while they're showing commercial, you go out onto the stage. The audience is there. So as soon as you walk out and you have to stand on your mark, you have like marks that you have to stand on. As soon as you stand on your mark, the audience is already cheering, and the judges are already there. So you start getting really nervous. And then I remember I stood there like this, waiting to like my position to start the illusion. And then it's like, all right, and it comes over big speakers. We're going live in 10, 9, 8, and I stood there going, oh Lord.
Faster.
Yeah, it was just so, and it was just so surreal, wasn't it? Cool, really cool.
What is your favorite magic trick and why?
What's my favorite trick and why? I don't have a favorite really. There's so many.
As far as the big illusions, what would be your favorite one?
I don't know, to be honest. I like them all. They're all my favourites for different reasons, you know. For different reasons. I like the one I do with the lightsabers. Because lightsabers are just cool, and like you gotta love lightsabers, swinging them around. So I enjoy that one. But honestly, I like them all, to be honest. I don't have a favourite.
I like our finale illusion best.
Yeah.
I'll not say too much.
We're not going to give it away. We'll let you come see the show.
Yeah, right. There's some spikes involved and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. And since you performed on cruise ship, how has like COVID impacted your business?
So since COVID, we've obviously we had to stop working on the cruise ships, and that was our main source of income. And it has affected us a lot. Basically, we've not been working, so we've been practicing a lot. We have our illusions in a warehouse, and we go there and we set up our lights and we practice just to keep keep our bodies there and keep us like practicing and stuff. And we've done a few things since, haven't we?
Yeah, and since then he's always loved photography as well, because we've always done our own promotional stuff, so our own promotional photos and video and all that kind of stuff. And he's kind of taught himself basically how to do that. So he always said, if I wasn't doing magic, I would love to do photography. We never thought that would be an actual reality, but then COVID hit and we had to do something. So we started getting into that, and we've actually done a lot of shoots on Gardner Webb University.
Good thing about photography, you can stay 6 feet away,
yeah,
and still do a shoot.
yeah.
And Tricia, since you're from Shelby, what is like perform here?
Oh, we love both of us, because he feels like Shelby's his home now too, but we love performing locally because we have so many friends and family, and you just get that natural support because everybody wants to support their local people. So I really love performing in Shelby. I think it's one of my favorite places to perform, because when I was growing up, I never got the opportunity, and I think the first time we performed at the Don Gibson twice.
Yeah,
And the first time was so cool because it was packed house, and everybody, there were so many faces we knew of all the people. There was a lot of family.
That's what's
and
nice
friends.
about it. When you go out there on stage and you see faces you know.
Yeah.
You know.
So you just know it doesn't, you can mess up and they'll still love you, hopefully. Yeah.
We don't mess up, we talk
No,
about. Knock on wood.
There's not as much pressure when you have friends and you know you've got that support.
I watch your clips on the website, and I noticed you do some escape performances. Like they
Yes.
appear to be like dangerous. Can you tell me
Yes.
about those acts?
So yeah, there is a few dangerous acts. One of them is I have to put a straitjacket on. It's made of canvas and leather and buckles. It's a real tough straitjacket. And somebody from the audience comes up and they put me in the straitjacket and they make sure it's all tight and they're passing it all around. And then Tricia and another assistant will lay me down and hook my legs up to a device which is 12 foot wide. It looks like a bear trap in a way. It's like a 12 foot wide thing with big spikes on it. And there's a saw on top of it, like a bus saw, and a rope that holds the spike, the big claw thing up. So I lay down and they hook my feet up and it lifts up in the air and it goes all the way up. And I have to escape out the straitjacket and get myself off the contraption before the saw cuts the rope and releases the we call it the jaws of death. So that's kind of cool. And we do another one as well, which is I get chained up in like a box with spikes above my head. And that same kind of deal, the saw comes down and cuts the rope, and then the spikes will drop through the box. So there's a couple of dangerous things in there, which take practice and escaping and stuff. You got to stay slim for the straitjacket, otherwise there ain't no way I'm getting out of that thing.
How do you come up with new tricks, and what do you perceive as the next frontier for magic?
We're always developing and coming up with new ideas and new tricks. When I do this show for you guys, and I've got another show the weekend after that I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to develop a new show. It's a different style of show, but it's more like storytelling and things like that, and close-up magic. So I'm going to develop that kind of show. So we're always developing, coming up with new ideas, trying to figure out new ways to do things and make it look cool. And I think as far as magic in future, I think magicians are really good at adapting. Like we've always got to adapt. We've got to adapt with the technology, with everything. Like with COVID, everybody adapted and started doing shows online, and then they had to get all the setup for all that and figure all that out. So I think we're very good at adapting as magicians, and I think that's what we'll do.
How long does it take you to perfect the trick?
I don't know if we ever do perfect.
I was going to say I'm still perfecting them every time I perform.
Yeah.
I think to get it to a point to where you put it on a stage, it takes a lot of rehearsals, a lot of hours, and what Tricia does in the show and stuff like that. It can take months and months of practice just for one illusion, because you want that. You have to get a feel for each other, and you have to get that time in and everything. So it takes a lot. Otherwise, it can be dangerous, because you've got fire and spikes and things like that.
And each trick is a little different. Some might not take as long, whereas other ones might take a long, long time. He does an effect with coins in the show. I don't know if you remember that one. And I think, how long did you rehearse that before you recorded?
I practiced it for about 6 months every single night. In a cabin on cruise ship. I practiced on the bed.
Yeah. And then he realized he had to practice. He would let the shower run and let the room get really, really hot, because he had to practice with his hands really sweaty, and like if you had that
Yeah,
going
'cause
on.
I
So
did.
It was a completely different ball game from being nice, calm, and relaxed and cool
Yeah.
to being in show mode where you're sweating and kind of shaky just a little bit from anxiety, not anxiety, but from, what do you call it?
Nerves.
Adrenaline, from nerves and stuff. So he had to practice in several different atmospheres to get used to that.
Yeah, because when I started doing when I thought we're ready to put it in the show, I put it in the show, but I didn't take into account the sweating and the hands sweating and things like that, because doing the illusions you get all sweaty and stuff. So when I started to like try and do the things with the coins, like my hands were sweaty, I couldn't hold on to the coins. So yeah, I practiced with shower and made my hands sweaty.
Yeah. What have I neglected to ask you that you would want your audiences to know about your passion for magic and your show?
Our show, I think our show is great for all ages. It's a fun show. We've got we've got pieces with people on stage, as you know yourself, because you was part of that before. And people always enjoy that stuff because it's interactive and fun. And then you've also got the big wow stuff, which people love as well. And there's a bit of everything in the show, and I think hopefully it'll be good and people enjoy it and have a good time.
We like to try to have as much fun as we can, because the more fun we have, the more fun the audience has as well. And we both like to get as many people involved in the show as we can, just because the more people you get on stage with you to see the magic right there, it's more believable in a way. Because otherwise people say, it's just a trick. It's just a trick. But when you have somebody stood right there and do the magic right under your nose, you can't see.
And a lot of it's about their reaction as well.
Right.
So we use a live camera feed in the show, and we have a projection screen above us.
Right.
So everybody, even if you sat at the very back, you can still see really good. So you can see the magic, but I always tell whoever's filming the magic to make sure after they see the magic to get the person, because you want to see their face when they go like, whoa, because that makes the show really cool, like,
And
see them.
This show in particular will be a little different than what we're used to, because like we said, John A. has traded me out for a younger, thinner, prettier version of me, only because I'm pregnant. I'm 14 weeks today, actually, pregnant.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to still be involved in the show, and I'm doing 2 illusions, possibly 3. We're still kind of deciding, but for the safety of me and baby, we've hired another girl, and we've been training her to take over my place for some of the illusions. So it will be a little different than what even we're used to, but it is still, the magic will be the same, more or less.
Yes.
We don't want Trisha jumping off of big boxes and things.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
And don't want to stab me
Right.
Yeah.
like you do.
What can the Garner students expect from your show?
They can expect to have lots of fun.
Mm.
I get everybody cheering and clapping and hollering, and just come out, especially after COVID and all this that's been going on. Just come out, have a great time, bring the families, because it's family week, I believe. Bring the families, have a great time, and just have fun, and they're going to see a bit of everything, really.
And just for a little bit of time, just let all your stress go away. Don't worry about nothing. Enjoy live entertainment, which so many people have been itching to have lately because of COVID. So just come out and enjoy it, and it'll be a great night.
Don't try and figure the tricks out.
No.
It's best if you just enjoy the magic.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.